We see her coach Maggie Haney walking across the mat there. We got to know her over the last few years as she coached Lori Hernandez to Olympic gold in Rio, and now she's got another young budding star in Riley McCusker.
And I asked Maggie right before the meet began, so is she ready? And she goes, absolutely not. And she has been beat up, was in a cast on her wrist, and also on crutches at the same time just weeks ago.
You know, and for Riley, it really isn't about getting the highest scores or placing.
Oh boy, she really struggled on that in training. Gonna do a similar skill right here. That one done very nicely.
As I was saying, it's really about getting back out in front of the judges on a podium, on a competition again, and getting ready for later on in the season.
This is a great dismount. Check this out from a L grip. Nicely done. Great recovery.
She worked hard in that routine.
Yeah. You know, not anything near what she wants to be able to do, but...
You know what really stuck out to me is her toe point. If anybody has better toe point, I haven't seen it. That was striking.
So the release skills in the beginning off the top, very nice. Right here you see a nice release, but this she had struggled on in training. Watch, she's supposed to keep her legs together and straight.
She just didn't quite get the rotation that you need for this skill. Just way too close, and it was actually very smart that she did that.
That's an amazing recovery. I was going to say it. That was phenomenal.
But I love the dismount from an L grip, like I said, kind of a half in, back out.
Nice fight back.
So she's smiling, another routine in front of the judges, in front of the big lights on the podium, and it'll serve her well as she heads down to the national championships later this summer. And just to talk about what these arrows mean when you see the scores come up, if there are deductions of 1.3 or less, they get a green triangle, yellow 1.4 to 1.9, and then if you see the red triangle, that's not good. That means they've had more than 2 points deductions. Jordan Childs getting ready to go. Another one of those GYMNASTICS you talked about before the meet is very good chance to come away with the U.S. Classic all-around title.
Yeah, she had a great few seasons as a junior and then had a few injuries, and so now she's finally a senior gymnast hoping to make that world team.
And really, she shines on the power events. She's unbelievable on vaulting, tremendous on floor exercise, a good beamer. She's not bad on uneven bars. Needs to maybe upgrade her difficulty a little bit.
You know, and this is one of the painful parts of being a gymnast is when the routine before you goes to a judges conference. You have to stand there and wait. And do you guys think it's that release that she tucked her knees in? They're trying to figure out what that might be worth?
Yeah, I don't think it's worth anything, to be perfectly honest. And, you know, it's not only may she not get any credit for it, but she also will incur deductions on it as well. But she really is a phenomenal talent and has, as you said, John, just a body and a line that is spectacular. And you know, she struggled at the American Cup this year, had a lot of issues, and then went to Italy and actually won the competition, a major event that Team USA goes to every year. And going from really having a rough time to winning that, I'm sure did a lot for her confidence.
As Jordan Waits, you know, I always say as physically demanding as the sport of gymnastics is, sometimes it's even more mentally challenging and demanding, and this is what, you know, one of these moments is trying to test that patience and those nerves. Some deductions on that dismount, but that was a great routine.
Quickly over to balance beam and another look at Riley McCusker. And Tim, you alluded to it, kind of an up and down year for Riley McCusker. Most notably at the American Cup, she had a lot of struggles.
Yes, she did.
We're going to look at one of those right here. Kind of a scary wipeout, but she obviously bounced back. You mentioned the Jasolo Trophy competition in Italy where she won the all-around, but that was after this happened.
On her dismount right here, watch her foot right there, misses it. Ooh. I saw that live, and it was one of the scariest things I've ever witnessed. See that foot? It just does not get down on the beam, misses a complete leg. and somehow comes out of that and was able to finish the competition. And then, as we said, recover, and just a short time later, win a major international championships in the all-around. Difficult wolf turn. 3 times around. She'll do another one right here. Only twice around. A little bit of a check right there. Now the element that she's going to do here, she's going to water down in training. This is a back handspring to 2 layouts. She crashed big time when she missed her second foot on the first layout. They've decided to play a little bit safer.
Just a little shaky on every skill, not quite having that confidence, but as we mentioned earlier, she is just now coming back from multiple injuries, and for her to just be out here in front of the judges being able to compete again, this is very important for her. But she is just gorgeous. Every skill that she does, beautiful technique, beautiful lines. And here's that dismount.
So just looking to get 2 feet down, both extremely well. Oh my goodness. I can't believe it.
Looked like she had it.
Wow. And there was nothing wrong with this at all. You know, maybe a flash went through her head about, you know, bad times in the past. Great bounce, and just holds on to that tuck too long. Hips are way in back of her heels. And if you're landing, rotating backwards with your hips in back of your heels, then you are going to sit down, as she did.
Unfortunate for Riley, but Reagan Smith getting ready to go on even bars. Won the American Cup earlier this year, probably the biggest win of her young career.
And I'll tell you what, she has really done a tremendous job on the uneven bars. So much more difficult. You see these skills, these inside Stalter skills, those are basically new for her. A lot of releases.
She has a new connection coming up right here, down to the low bar. A little bit of a leg separation, but great connection.
Just so much more difficult than she was doing last year, though. Beautiful dismount in the air, just a couple of little slides on the landing, but you know, a lot of people said she's weak on bars in the past, but this routine right here has the potential to get a big score. She certainly has errors that she's going to need to clean up, but really a tremendous foot forward in the difficulty department.
And you see, these are those in-bar, her feet are a little bit flexed on each one, but that is very difficult to get your feet and legs all the way through the bar and right back up to handstand.
And this is a beautiful transition right here. Nice Stalder into a reverse hecht and connects it all the way down to the low bar. One of my favorite skills in gymnastics. Love that pack salto.
But these are where, this is the competition where she can really try those new skills before the national championships. Great dismount.
You know, she's
landing.
only doing a couple events. She'll do beam tonight as well, but she told us that she's absolutely prepared to do all 4 events, but it's just not in the plan in preparation for the P&G Championships and then the World Championships in Montreal in October.
We talked about how she is a veteran. She's only 16, actually turned 17 in 10 days, and she thought, man, that's old, age 17. It was funny to hear her say that as we see Riley McCusker score a 13.0, so they nailed her on that dismount. But, you know, she is young at the moment, but in 3 years she's going to be 20, and you don't see a lot of Olympians with the teen at the end of their age. Could this be one of those situations where it's going to be a tough thing to hold on?
Well, a lot of kids at this point, they say that they haven't made the decision. They're going to take it year by year. I asked her, and she said, no, I am going for 2020. I'll be 20 in 2020, and that sounds good to me.
That's a lot of 20s. 14.55 for Reagan Smith. So the one-touch warm-up is over for rotation number 3 as we get going here in the second half of this competition. And we are going to get another chance to see Riley McCusker. She had a little bit of trouble on the balance beam, but she is not doing the all-around. But, you know, one young lady who is OLY Shenikova. We talked about her very confident lead there at 28.85. She's going to be a tough one to catch. We will see her in a little bit. Riley McCusker getting ready to go on floor exercise. How good is she here?
Well, she's good. You know, obviously it's not her strongest event. She's really shines on uneven bars and balance beam. That's where she has her most potential, but she comes from the same gym as Lori Hernandez, and so she can dance as well. It's a different style than Lori, but it's classical, but it's sassy.
Did you just say classical but sassy, Tim? I never thought I'd actually hear you say those words in combination.
I don't know. I think that pretty accurately describes it.
I agree with you, Tim. And, you know, we're not going to see the highest level of difficulty here because, as we keep saying, she was injured. She's coming back from that injury, really looking ahead towards the national championships and hopefully the world championships later.
Yeah, remember, she was in a cast on her wrist and also on crutches for an ankle at the same time just a short while ago.
Again, not quite her full level of difficulty, lacking a little power, endurance, but she still remains one of my favorites for not only this year, but the next 3 years ahead towards Tokyo.
Her coach, Maggie Hanley. So it was a great mount, and then she got a little bit off. She is way under-rotated on this double twist, doesn't get the twist around, somehow finds the floor on that front flip.
And here's that final pass. 2 flips in the air in a tech position. I'd call that a stick.
That was impressive to me because she is not in great routine shape, and looking at her in the corner, I thought, wow, this is going to be a little bit scary doing a double back in her 4th tumbling run, but she dealt with it well.
Sportsmanship on the sidelines at a high level. Good to see that as our leader, OLY Shenikova, gets ready to go on the always daunting balance beam. You're really not the leader until you've done beam, I feel like. That's the real test.
Well, especially when you're in the lead. And I don't know if she knows that or not, but
yeah,
you know, that's always a little added pressure.
Another one of those wolf turns. 3 times around. You're not allowed anymore to do it with an extra half turn. You used to be able to do a 2.5. It has to be a full revolution, 2 or 3.
A little off on that, but beautiful combination.
Really has to kind of grit that around that second layout, though. Very nice. It's called an Anoni, named after a tremendous Hungarian gymnast from around the time your dad was competing, Nastia.
Well, she sure does have a lot of skills in this routine. One thing after another.
Dismount. Oh boy. And that is disappointing without question. Oh.
So the pressure of being in first place may have crept up on her. We'll have to keep an eye on Deanne Souza, who's in second place, see if she can close that gap.
Dad Alex there trying to comfort her, but so here we go. Once again, Wolf turns. She'll go 3 times around. Nicely done. Lots of bonus points here, so she adds 1, going twice around.
We see a lot of gymnasts doing that, but to me, that looks really, really hard.
And this is also really hard. 3 skills in a row. You saw her standing foot was a little bit off, but she saved it.
But the dismount, you know, she's not known as being a power gymnast, and she really doesn't get a great bounce, really tucks so hard. And once again, you see those hips. If you are flipping backwards and your hips are behind your heels, that is inevitable right there. You're gonna sit down a full point off.
So the judges will be sharpening their pencils on Alonia's beam routine, unfortunately. But we're gonna go quickly over to uneven bars. We saw Abby Paulson on floor exercise the first rotation. Now we're gonna see her on uneven bars, and I'm gonna get a little personal here because she goes to my old gym, Twin City Twisters, and her dad was actually teammates with me on the 1996 Olympic team, but he was a wrestler. He won a silver medal. He's in the blue right there. Brandon Paulson.
I'll tell you what, she's got good genes for being one tough character, and
absolutely,
they are workers.
I remember watching him wrestle in that gold medal match. I was sitting in the Olympic Village and turned the TV on. I'm like, there's a Minnesota kid going for gold. It was a lot of fun.
And they are here today. Currently, as it says, 5th there. I think it actually might be 6th, though.
Yep. There's a lot of moving parts here. People doing all around, not doing all around.
No, that's actually correct because I had Riley McCusker ahead of her, and she is done at this point. Will not do her 4th event, the vault.
Now on the evening bars for Twin City Twisters, Abby Paulson.
Beautiful release move so far.
Dismount double front.
Over-rotated that, held on to her knees a little too long, but better that way than under-rotating.
So Abby Paulson finishes her 3rd rotation. Shenikova, meanwhile, a very disappointing, a 12.85 for the leader. Riley McCusker, meanwhile, on the floor exercise. There she is right there on the left, and she scored a 13.3. So a little bit better, but they did hit her almost 2 points in deductions for Riley, and you guys mentioned it, a lot of those little things that I'm sure she will be cleaning up as she gets ready for the PNG.
Certainly not going to challenge for that top spot.
And we obviously have to wait for that score, but it's all Alonia Shenikova's meet today, and certainly something she can build on, Nastia, as she heads towards the end of the summer.
Oh, absolutely. You know, again, it's not really about winning the U.S. Classic, but it is going to give you a little bit of a confidence boost going into the national championships, knowing that you can be on top of the leaderboard.
And you know, sometimes we get so focused on world championships and Olympic games, but for this young lady, if she continues to have the meets like she's been having at the PNG Championships, she'll make the national team. She'll have the opportunity to travel all over the world to compete for the United States of America, which is a pretty cool thing.
Got a smile out of her. She's been smiling a lot this last rotation.
I'm sure she knows at this point, without question.
I know it didn't matter what the meet was when I was a gymnast. It could be an inner squad against the national team in their own gym, but if you come out on top, you're pretty happy about it. And Abby Paulson there with her coach, Sarah Jancy, waiting for the score. Abby Paulson finished 9th all around at the Secret Classic last year, and so she will move up most likely in the ranking.
Really, if she wants to make her way into that top grouping, has to do a little bit more difficulty virtually across the board. If she can pull that off, certainly would be much more competitive.
Abby Paulson's score, a 13.5. So not going to close that gap, but nonetheless, a great night for Abby Paulson. Sarah Jancy, her coach, should be happy, and that young lady certainly is happy. Alonia Shenikova, she is your 2017 U.S. Classic all-around champion. We will wrap it up when we come back. So Alonia Shenikova, she gets it done, 54.95, a comfortable victory over Abby Paulson, but a nice day for Abby Paulson. Moves up into that 2nd spot. And not just these seniors, but we have seen a lot of outstanding juniors in tonight's competition. This Team USA Women's Gymnastics is going to be another tough one to beat as they head into 2017 and towards the 2020 Olympic Games. But don't forget, in less than 3 weeks, we'll have the 2017 P&G National Gymnastics Championships, men's and women's competition on all the NBC networks, the Olympic Channel, NBC Sports, and of course, NBC. So congratulations again to Alonia Shenikova on your all-around title. For Tim Daggett, Nastia Lukin, and everyone on the outstanding Olympic Channel production team, I am John Roethlisberger. So long from Hoffman Estates, Illinois, and the 2017 U.S. Classic. So long, everyone.